Yo, it's Happen Tuesday, the holy grail of the beat. What better day to spit gems? New York's legacy repeats. A weeknight, sit quiet, and for we it ain't dead. Ghost dog vibes, breaking it down in your head. Sit back, roll a blunt, let's elevate in style. Recollect the memory, city vibe, make it worthwhile. NFL fans gather round, we ready for the grind. This channel be my throne, leading you to unwind. Spitting facts on the mic, headphones set to the tone from the streets of the east. We making this our own.
This is a Gh0stDog mixtape original.
Yeah, it's your boy Gh0stDog here with another Tap In Tuesday here on the Aboriginal Sports Network. If you haven't done so already, if you are new to the channel, if you feel the vibe from all these great content creators, please be sure to hit the subscribe. Here at the Aboriginal Sports Network, we put in the work. Help the algorithm help us help you get better content. Simple mathematics. That being the case, before we get into things here, because I got a little bit of something here, something that's been making my asshole itch. Pause. Couple of announcements. Going forward for the Tap In Tuesdays, I will try to make the subject matter more NFL as a whole related, as opposed to hyper focusing on Giants content only. If you want Giants content specifically, head over to my main channel, as well as on the Aboriginal Sports Network. We have the Giants Convo, soon coming to every Thursday near you. That being the case, even though we have some Giants related topics today, going forward, just keep that in mind. However, let's get right into it, man. As I'm sure you've already paid attention, as I'm sure you've already noticed, NFL does this thing every year where they drop like a top 100 players of all their peers. Remember that. They are chosen by their peers. We have to keep that in mind here, ladies and gentlemen. So, there's some things that I've noticed on the list. Particular a player of ours by the name of Malik Neighbors. Right? Ranked them at 67. Right? See, the situation is that despite the things that Malik Neighbors have been able to have to go through, right? 4 or 5 different quarterbacks throwing him. Had a little bit of a scare with the concussion situation for 2 games, right? So he only played for 15. However, he was able to put up in his rookie year, with as many quarterbacks as he had, throwing him the ball, 1,204 yards. 1,204 yards for the season. 7 touchdowns, right? 109 receptions, 170 targets, which is a little bit on the high end. Again, remember who's throwing him the ball, though. He's got multiple quarterbacks throwing him the ball. Has been able to put up those types of numbers. And pay attention, man. Because I feel like just him being at 67 in and of itself for this list is a little egregious. I just don't think his peers have really caught on to his abilities yet. And I also think that the Super Bowl bias is a real thing. Okay? And remember, he's a rookie. However, there's 2 other players that jump out to me that are also rookies that were drafted last year in his same draft class, but they're within a division rival, said division rival winning the Super Bowl, which is the which is the Philadelphia Eagles. Excuse me. Holy smokes. I hate those dirty birds. Jesus Christ. How could I ever get the 2 teams confused? Lord, what a slip. However, again, number 60 coming in, Cooper DeJean. Now, look, the young man comes drafted out of Iowa. You know, he was one of those top cornerback prospects, easily like in everybody's top 12 to 15, maybe even in some cases top 10. However, he had that great play in the Super Bowl, the interception for the pick six. We know the story. Nobody's denying the potential of his talent. However, I just feel like this Super Bowl win just absolutely inflated some of these players on that team. Because now I'm curious, because we know Saquon's going to make the list, right? Now we have two rookie cornerbacks made the list, and a Cooper DeJean at number 60, and a Quinyon Mitchell at 49. So now it makes me think, where are they going to have Jalen Carter? Because he's noteworthy. Where are they going to have Jalen Hurts? Right? And I'm not knocking Jalen Hurts, and I'm definitely not knocking Jalen Carter. My issue is, where's Dexter going to be at? Because if they have Carter over a Dexter Lawrence, we're going to have some major issues. At least I'm going to have major issues. Because there was suspicion about this list in the past as far as like the validity of it. It's on full display this year. No doubts about it in my mind at this point. A Cooper DeJean at number 60 over Malik Neighbors, who is at 67, is egregious in and of itself. This young man has no interceptions, only 6 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, and 3 fumble recoveries. So, look, definitely Johnny on the spot, took advantage of every opportunity that was thrown his way. However, he was playing with a top 5 defense in and of itself. So we have to put all these things together. We have to be able to see the forest, not just the tree that is the Super Bowl win that they had. Going on to the Quinyon Mitchell, again, no interceptions, right? A lot of passes defended, 12. That's great. No nonsense. Had they had Quinyon Mitchell at 60 and Cooper DeJean maybe not even on the list or in the 90s, there's room for argument there. However, fam, to me, it's as plain as day where the bias is at. And it's obviously the NFL stands for, the NFL is a what have you done for me lately kind of league. I understand all these things. It's just, dude, the biases when it comes to this top 100 selection process is just crazy to me. Should be no reason why those 2 cornerbacks are above to that degree over Malik Neighbors. To me, there's none. And I can't wait for Malik Neighbors to go out there and prove himself against those 2 cornerbacks. Because they're going to have to double up on him. He's going to make those people look silly. You don't think he's not going to be looking at this? And, okay, we're going to see what time it is. I got a pretty good feeling that Malik Neighbors got both of those Eagles games circled on his calendar. No BS. And then I can't wait to see the rest of this list because, again, as I said, if they have Jalen Carter over Dexter Lawrence, to me, this list is no longer valid ever going into the future. I've had suspicions against this list as far as the biasness on it. And, we could also throw in the fact that the Giants haven't been successful. Goes back with the what have you done with me lately mindset. I understand that. But what Malik Neighbors was able to accomplish last year, given the circumstances, given the team surrounding him, bro, he should be in the 50s to me. Based off of that alone. And I'm not even saying Cooper DeJean or Quinyon Mitchell or Jalen Hurts or Jalen Carter, Saquon Barkley especially. I'm not saying none of them are not deserving of being on this list. They are. However, dude, this Super Bowl bias stink is just, it's palpable this year. It's so noticeable. It's not even funny. So, I just cannot wait to see the looks on these people's faces. And I can't wait to see the leap that Malik is going to make from that number 67 spot. I predict he's going to leap into the top 20 based off of this season alone. So pay attention, man. He's getting Jamar Chase comparisons. So Jamar Chase is also an LSU alum, as well as a Justin Jefferson. Man, look, wide receiver U is for real. I said it in one of my training camp videos. We have one of those dudes. We do. And now he has somebody who can throw him the ball like how he needs the ball thrown to him. Danger Russ will have a little bit of a reemergence in his career because of league. So pay attention is all I'm saying as far as that's concerned. However, staying within the division, got a lot of drama, of course, with Dallas, of course, with the Washington Commanders. They got a situation now where each one has their a player, a premier player of a premier position that, quite frankly, they're tired and they want out. They asked for trades, one being Micah Parsons, the other one being Terry McLaurin, aka Scary Terry. Now, as of the recording of this video, they possibly could have had some contracts or whatnot worked out. However, I'm commenting based off of the fact that they haven't gotten their contracts yet, or they haven't been traded yet. Now, do I think they're going to be traded? I think that Jerry Jones and the new owner of the Commanders would be absolutely crazy for trading those players away, especially a Micah Parsons. No doubt about it. People might have his criticisms, obviously. However, nobody can deny that young man's talent. Nobody can deny that young man's productivity, even though it has gone down a little bit, these past couple seasons, injuries and what have you. However, the young man gets busy. He is absolutely in the conversation for top 10 edge rusher in the league, if not the top 5. And this is coming from a Giants fan. Easily top 6. So Jerry Jones would be foolish to let him walk or trade him or have him hold out and not pay his money. And, there's also speculation that there might be like a power shift, power dynamic, or power grab, if you will, from his son. Look, man, Jerry Jones is up in age, and he's been doing Jerry Jones things for a long time. And I think that's part of the reason why that franchise has been as stagnant as it is for as long as it has been. I just think it's time for Jerry Jones to possibly either handle his business or step down and let his sons take over. And not to be an ageist or nothing, but it's just after a certain while, it's time to get the car keys away from grandpa. Especially when you got a situation where you've got players acting disgruntled. And, make no mistake about it, Micah Parsons is a leader in that locker room. So younger players will absolutely follow his lead and by example. They need to get that under control immediately. On the flip side with the Commanders, a little bit of a different circumstance. Obviously, Scary Terry is a wide receiver. That being the case, you have a young quarterback and a Jaden Daniels who has been able to build a little bit of a repertoire with him, a little bit of a connection. Why would you hinder that in going into his second season? Newsflash, Deebo Samuel is not going to save you. He's bigger, older, and he's got a little bit of an injury history racking up with him now. Zach Ertz, was able to do things last year. However, he's older. You can't rely on him to be that premier target. Scary Terry is young, and he is going into his prime right now. So just pay that young man. Pay that young man. You want to be a successful franchise? You want to be able to compete not only within your division, but in the league as a whole? You have to be able to pay your premier players. So pay Terry McLaurin. Simple mathematics. I mean, it really is. And, and it's crazy, too, because the Cowboys is looking terrible in practice and in the training camp. Washington Commanders looking dusty and old. They got Eckler and Von Miller over there. Had you said that, 5, 6, maybe even 7 years ago, that would have been a problem. Now, ain't nobody scared, man. So chasing away your younger players and not paying them what they're due is just a recipe for disaster and just absolute just buffoonery and nonsense. So pay your players. Simple. And, you know, talking about fumblings and bumblings of GMs and owners. Oh man, going into this last topic here. And I know this is a little bit of a topic that people might be getting tired of or whatever the situation is. However, I am a fan of this young man. Therefore, I will continue to root and support this young man. And, you know, call out the mess ups when he messes up too. Make no mistake about it. I will try to approach things from an objective standpoint. And whatever I cover here at the Aboriginal Sports Network, regardless of me being a fan of whoever or whatever organization. That being the case, this last subject is Gh0 Sanders. Recently in the news, Jim Haslin came out and put it out there that pretty much it wasn't his decision to draft Gh0. Now, I came across this article written by Mike Florio. Shouts out to Mike Florio. He is a beast at everything he covers, the way he articulates and the way he does his journalism and breaks down his opinions and the facts that he bases them off of. Now, he starts off by saying the article. I advise everybody to go out there to read it. It's a dope read, 2-minute read, not bad. You know, reading is fundamental. I'm always going to preach that here. He goes on to say, the Browns have 4 quarterbacks on the active roster and the 5th one on the physical unable to perform list, the PUP. Now, that 5th one is obviously Deshaun Watson. He's trying to make a comeback. Chances are he won't. It is what it is. Crazy contract. I don't need to get into to the weeds in that. However, they have 4 other ones in a Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and last but certainly not least, Gh0 Sanders. He goes on to say, the curveball came in round 5 of the draft when Cleveland added rookie Gh0 Sanders with the 144th overall pick, just 2 rounds after the Browns selected quarterback Dylan Gabriel in round 3. Some believe that owner Jimmy Haslam forced the issue, given the perception or reality that has engineered other big swing quarterback moves. From Johnny Manziel in 2014 to Deshaun Watson in 2022, while maintaining plausible or implausible deniability. Meeting with reporters on Tuesday, Haslam was asked about the theory that Haslam made the call on Gh0. He goes on to say, we have a good process, Haslam said, via Daniel Oyefuse of ESPN.com. We had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. And the end of the day, that's GM Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Gh0. Mike Florio goes on to say, Haslam's answer makes it clear that the organization considered the possibility that Sanders would be available at a round that would make taking him a bargain they couldn't refuse. During those conversations, Haslam surely said something. Whatever he said and didn't say would become evidence for Berry's eventual assessment as to whether the owner was or wasn't on board with it. If Haslam had said, for instance, we already drafted a quarterback, we don't need another one, would Berry have picked Sanders? Probably not. If Haslam has said, you can't have enough good quarterbacks, would that have influenced Berry? So yeah, no, dope read, check it out. Absolutely. And what does that tell us? It basically tells us simply this. The Browns are a little disorganized. They have been for a while, especially at that quarterback position. I mean, they even signed one over here, quarterback Tyler Huntley, because the quarterbacks that they have on the roster, whether it be Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, or whoever, they're having issues. And the only one who doesn't seem to be having issues is Gh0 Sanders. Now, for me, it's inevitable that that young man takes that starting position. I just think he is that talented. I think, however, a lot of people are, given the name and the circumstances behind this entire fiasco, this entire show, if you will, between the draft and the Browns taking him and him being and the Browns and just this entire circus surrounding this young man. It's unfortunate, man, because now a lot of people are not going to realize or rather see the talent for what it is. He's just going to have to work that much harder. And not that he's not capable of it. It's just stuff like this just bothers me, man. And I feel like instead of really just attacking his ability to play on the field, it's other things that's just surrounding it that, some might argue it's of his own, consequence because of the way they carry themselves, whether at Colorado and what have you, with Deion Sanders being his father and being in the limelight that to the degree that they have been. However, with the whole situation with the Browns, it's just, to me as the GM, it's like, are you in control of your team or are you allowing the GM to do what he does? Which is not necessarily a bad thing. However, this is weird. It's just a weird situation, especially given the name that is Shedeur Sanders. You know what I'm saying? It's like your GM picked the quarterback. You're kind of throwing him under the bus. At the same time, it's like, is the GM really going to make moves like this without your green light? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know. I'm interested to definitely see how it plays out. I will be paying close attention, especially to Shedeur Sanders, because I'm a fan of that young man and I want to see him succeed. I saw a video clip of him the other day having a back and forth with Myles Garrett. So, look, man, if he could go in there and put in the work and win over that team, which in my mind he will, man, look, it's going to be interesting. Years down the line, 5, 10, to see where we're at, where Shedeur Sanders is going to be at, and where Jackson Dart is going to be at as a Giants fan. Because in another alternate universe, the Giants selected Shedeur Sanders at that Jackson Dart pick. You know what I'm saying? And in the other alternate universe where we selected him at, I would have been more confident in knowing that he would have balled out. Because I think in this universe with the Browns, he's going to ball out. I just hope that in this universe, since we took Jackson Dart, he balls out. I hope this is that universe where Jackson Dart, where the Giants took him, is the one where he balls out. And not to say that he won't be, because I'm loving what I'm seeing at camp. He was number 3 on my list. He probably should have been number 2. No nonsense, because I am loving what I'm seeing on training camp. However, I need to see it on the field. And I would absolutely say the same thing about Shedeur. It's just my confidence in Shedeur is just that much more compared to a Jackson Dart. But it's getting close. It's catching up. Let's see, though, however, after preseason and all that. And again, 5, 10 years down the line, we'll get all the answers we're questioning right now. We'll get all the answers that we have the questions for at the moment. So, yeah, no, gone on long enough, man. Hope you enjoyed the content. This is another Tap In Tuesday here at the Aboriginal Sports Network. Again, hit that subscribe, hit the like, leave a comment. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The Aboriginal Sports is where it's at for all your sports coverage needs. Yeah. Hit the like, hit the comment. Make sure you stay tapped and tuned in for future developing news and breaks and other things we might have going on. And absolutely, man. And with that being the case, I'm going to give y'all a big blue salute. Peace.
Yo, it's Tappin' Tuesday, the holy grail of the beat. What better day to spit gems? New York's legacy repeats. A weeknight, sing quiet, and for we it ain't dead. Gh0stDog vibes, breaking it down in your head. Sit back, roll a blunt, let's elevate in style. Recollect the memory, city vibes make it worthwhile. NFL fans gather round, be ready for the run. This channel be my throne, leading you to unwind. Spitting facts on a mic, headphones set to the tone from the streets of the east. We making this our own. tapping out Tuesday, but only for a while. Took by Tuesday a pill, now hard to swallow. Hit that like button and don't forget to follow. I'll be back soon, shit, it might be tomorrow.
This is a Ghost Dog mixtape original.